Okay then, welcome to another video, long form recording of me showing you stuff in AI. And today I want to show you how I make my YouTube videos, because if you're hanging around here, you probably joined through one of my AI generated videos, because the videos that I actually create, these long form videos, they rarely get any views. I have my channel here, and you can see it's like 4 views here, and the other ones are like hundreds of views on my shorts. And then all of these, by the way, are made by AI. Even if they like look like me and talking and it's current and whatever, it's all made with AI. And I'm going to show you the process that I'm using right now to make these. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I make one of these, because they're faster and quicker, and then I can do those with local models, which is the key thing that I want to focus on right now. Because if you haven't noticed so far, there's been some kerfuffles lately in the AI industry in the US, especially because of the US government basically shutting down Fable and Mythos, and also now recently demanding that OpenAI, let the White House, the US White House, decide who actually gets access, right? So they're strictly censoring and filtering everything, and that means that running your own models is now even more important than ever, right? So this is like the second or third time they're shutting down something, and it's important to sort of be able to run your own models. So this is that's kind of what I want to show you today. These are videos that take a bit of time. I'm going to make a very short video. I'm not going to publish it anywhere, but I'm going to attach it to the end of this recording so you can see it. And I'm going to show you how the steps that I do this, obviously with AI, and then in this case I'm using Codex. But all of this, if you haven't seen this before, is part of a bigger system that I've built, which is my job system, and I have like a ton of content here. The two agents, and this is my very elaborate agent system. I have a ton of roles in here that do different things. The ones that I'm going to be using today is my content engineer and director, which is essentially the content engineer is creating, not creating, it's reviewing and helping me, improve the quality of my content. And director is the one that actually produces all of these videos, right? So I'm going to show you this right now. Actually, we probably wouldn't need content engineer at all, because I just want to like make a very short video. So actually, let's do this right now, and I'm going to immediately break my pledge of not having AI create something. But this is not something that I want to publish. I just want to like do this quickly. Content engineer, and obviously this is I could do this myself. I have some scripts already here, like with stuff that I've been starting to type on. Actually, we can do this. Let's just do this. I'm just going to take a short thing here. The reason why I want to make this short is that I want to record the entire process, and the actual rendering that I'll be doing on Runpod takes about 25 times as long as the video, or as a rendered video. So I don't want to have like a minute long video right now, an actual YouTube short, because that means we'd be sitting here for like 20-25 minutes just waiting for that to render, which is pointless. So I want to do something else. I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to go with let content engineer do this stuff. Because this is how I normally do things, right? And while we're waiting for the rendering in a few minutes, I'll show you one of the things that I did yesterday. This video, which is this one right here, actually published 18 hours ago. I want to show you while we're waiting how that actually got made yesterday, right? And everything here is AI, including the cool intros and the fancy thumbnails and everything. All of that is AI stuff, and it starts with this content engineer. Um, I want to create a demo video for this script. It's supposed to be around 10 seconds. Something like this. Supposed. Uh, can you estimate its length, please? And I want to do this right now, because normally what I do is that I often start with a content idea. I have a script, and like I said before, I write this script myself. I never use AI to actually write anything that goes into that actually goes into any videos I always write myself, but I use AI to edit them and fact check things and make sure that everything is correct. And right now, this is looking at 4 to 5 seconds. This is perfect, right? So this is fine. Now, and then I talk with it. I go a bit back and forth, and I say, here's what I want to do. Here's my feedback. Here's what actually looks good, and here's what we need to change. And once I have a script, what I do is this next step here, which I'm basically going to do right now, which is I'm going to say, okay, good. Please start a new sub agent for director and have it produce this video like that. Use Chatterbox. Chatterbox is, like, I'll walk you through this in a moment. Use Chatterbox for an excited delivery and yeah, use of Runpod is approved. Um, yeah, that's it. Right. So basically now I'm telling, once I have a script now, and again this is a demo. It's like 5 seconds long. I'll tell content engineer to hand it off to director, and once that's done, um, director will spin up here. We'll see that in a moment, and then director will basically take over and it'll produce this video. So I did a couple of things here already that I want to point out as well. Now director has access to multiple ways of generating my voice. I've trained voice models that sound like me, and I'm using um, local models. I'm using Chatterbox is one of them. There's a Quen model, and I also use a remote service called HeyGen, which is fine. Delegating, Just want to make sure everything is going well. Since you prove GPU only for Runpod, yeah, this is fine. It has these different models. And in my setup here, director is the one that knows how to do. So if I say, make me an excited deliverer of this particular thing, which I often do in the beginning of videos that are long form, like there's a hook saying, hey, that's something that I do in order to, get you hooked, right? Make sure that you're paying attention. So my director knows all about those things. It knows how to render certain videos, right? So once if we get to that point where it's supposed to be, now you see Hubble is up here already. We can look at Hubble, by the way, so we can follow what director is doing here now, the prompt it gets and what it's doing and everything. I actually want to do okay. Don't disturb director while it's working. I'll with work with it directly and let you know when it's done. I'll explain this in a moment as well, by the way. I actually want to steer this. So director knows how to render things. So when I said earlier that use of Runpod is approved, so Runpod is where I run my own models, right? So Runpod is a service where you basically rent the machine that is yours for the time that you rent it, right? And you rent this by the second. So in my case, I have a bunch of 5090 machines that I have or that I've used in the past, and director knows how to call that and spin that up, and the models and everything are on the drive that I control, right? So I'm using a model that's called InfiniteTalk. That's the one that creates these talking head videos that you've seen, or maybe you haven't seen, but you'll see it at the end of this. And once it's created that, it'll spin that up. It'll pass the job on to that using the models that I control, and then it'll render everything and it'll shut it down. Right? So it knows how to do this. That's the role that director is doing here. But Runpod costs money, right? So if I don't say that I actually approved this use of that Runpod, it'll stop in the middle of this and it'll just say, you know what, I've not been approved to spend any money on this, so I'm not going to do that. The same thing is for the other service that I'm using quite a lot, mainly for my shorts, because that's oh yeah, that's a silly thing. Um, Director actually starts up Visual Studio Code with my Python scripts because it doesn't actually realize that there's a it needs to set up a local um, Python environment. It'll figure all of this stuff out. But like I said, the other system that I'm also using for generating my shorts is called HeyGen, right? And in those cases, it's also something that technically doesn't cost money, but I have an existing. Um, yeah, so now it'll correct this and it'll run the actual script. But it'll cost. I have a set of tokens every month that I'm paying for, and um, so that's technically a cost, right? I have like X amount of tokens, and that's costs X amount of money. So if I want to actually do the rendering here, then my dog is barking. She wants to go out. Sorry about that. But this is going to be running for a while. By the way, I might stop it just to see if I should take out my wonderful little pug, or she can, yeah, we can lift her up. Oh, yeah, so you can actually see Rosa here. Hey, here's Rosa. Hey, Rosa. I'm working. So you have to. It's a special guest appearance, but you have to be on the floor right now because I have to work. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's my microphone. Yeah, I know. Okay. You okay? You have to be downstairs, down on the floor because I have to work. You okay? Good. Okay. So, brief guest appearance while this has been running. So what I was saying is that agent also costs money, at least tokens. So it'll always stop before it actually starts costing money on the rendering, right? So that's why I pre-approve everything, so that everything is actually ready to run completely. I did this yesterday, by the way. So while we're doing this right now, it'll do some quality testing. It'll check that the audio that's created is correct. It'll go through and make sure that it'll use something called Whisper, which is a second model that actually reads out what's being spoken by the generated text. So I asked it, hey, can you take this particular text now, render it as a chatterbox spoken language thing? It'll do that. Maybe we can even see it here. I don't think I actually. Yep, here we go. So this is, and I think you should be able to hear this right now. So, how are we doing? If I start playing this now, you'll probably hear it. With AI, I suddenly have the tool to test those ideas. With AI. So that's the recording that director just created for us, right? So now that it's done with this, it'll do some quality control on it, make sure that it sounds correct and all of those things. Um, and then it'll spin up the Runpod thing, and it'll do that. Let me actually, while we're doing this right now, I can go and look at my Runpod. So this is where my Runpod lives. This is where I spin up those models. You'll see this in a moment. I'll just keep this up here now so you sort of see. We'll monitor these, and I can go in and can look at how things are going in a moment. But basically that's what happens. So as I mentioned, I was doing this yesterday. So if you go back here now, you can see this article to video process. So this was the video that I actually created. You'll see this is the weight paradox, which is that video that I created yesterday. This is about the weight paradox and how it often actually makes sense to not start doing stuff because, well, it's you can go and watch the video if you actually need to look at it. But this is the video that this particular conversation created yesterday. So you'll see that this is a very, very simple thing, right? So in this particular case, I had written an article several years ago about this weight paradox and how it helps you define when you should start working with AI. And then, spoiler alert, you should start working with AI right now, even despite the weight paradox. But basically, what I said is that, hey, can you take this old article that I have and turn that into a spoken word video script, right? So it doesn't change anything. It'll only reference things. So if, for example, in the article, it says like, oh, so you can, as you can see below, right? There's no below in the video. So it'll change it to say, as you can see on screen, or as you can see here, or something like that, and put in a B-roll clip there so that you can actually, see the text that or the image that was in the original article. So, but in any case, so it'll do this, and this is a 5 minute video. So this, now we're rendering a 5 second video, which is really really fast and short and everything. But in the this particular case, this is actually a 5 minute video that has multiple steps, and it has multiple segments, and it has B-roll, which is like, slides and animations and stuff that pop up on screen. It'll need to create an intro sequence. It needs to render with some startup music that I have that I always use, and there's a bunch of complex things that are being done. But you see here, like this is it. So there's one prompt here saying, "Hey, take this article, do whatever." I need to make sure that we only do light edits, right? So we don't want to like change anything, because it tends to. But very often these models want to be very helpful, and they'll rewrite the entire script to make it clear or whatever they want to do. So we just tell it not to do that, and then we have some content here, and then we had to recreate some stuff, and yeah, well, in any case, it'll do some of this stuff, and then at the end of it as well, basically, it's a very very few articles. Even missed my face in all of this, right? But I guess so there's most of the stuff that I'm doing right here is actually about creating the thumbnail that comes out of this. So there's some thumbnails somewhere down here. Well, it's actually several of them. You'll see them in the video. And here's some additional guidance for me if I wanted to run this on a second thumbnail. But in any case, so this is the entire thing, right? From an article that I already have to this being now rendered. I gave it a $4 budget to render this, because again, it's a 5 minute video, so this will take several minutes, or maybe I think it took an hour. So did it say how long it took? Because there was yeah, it told me in here that it used like $1.04 or something like that. So it'll work mostly within budgets, as long as you give it a budget, right? Then I guess let's check in on the old script. So this, like I said, this is the script. This is the model. This is the run that I did yesterday, like 21 hours ago. It took about 3 hours, as you can see, like 3 hours, and I was actually out for lunch most of this time. So while director was producing all of this stuff, I actually was monitoring on my cell phone the progress on Runpod, and I can see the models. And I was, sitting at lunch and waiting for our food, and I was showing my wife the rendered segments that was coming out and all of those things. So this happened in the background while I was doing other stuff. So what are we doing? Mm-hmm. There are related changes outside the job. Okay, this is fine. Why are we? Okay, they're not enough. They're okay. Excellent. So what that actually means is that it tried to spin up these jobs. Let's look at this one right here. Can we do? I can actually try to start this now. Yeah, that actually works. That's great. So basically, what happens here is that they Runpod. This is in Romania, I think, somewhere. Doesn't really matter, but they have a series of 5090s, as you can see here. They're available, and they're great machines, by the way. They're absolutely brilliant, and you pay by the hour, and I pay like 99 cents per hour, and they build this by the second, by the way, so it's not actually going to cost you $1 if you only, in this case that we're doing right now, spending maybe a few minutes on rendering this. So now it tried, but sometimes other people are using these machines, right? So I can't use that particular one, but they have multiple 5090s, so I can now say that I want to migrate this. I have explicitly told my director not to try this. So in this case, it'll actually not have that. So, okay, so let me just first, okay, I cloned new 5090 for you. Here's the ID, like that. That's all I need to tell it, right? So, and by the way, now I'm talking directly with director. Like I said, if something happens, and this is going fine. Okay, so let me just spin this up now. We can see what things look like. Here's Comfy UI, which is the rendering. I'm not a Comfy UI expert, by the way, so this is going to show just a default workflow, which has bugs and stuff. This is not the workflow we're actually running right now. Director has its own InfiniteTalk workflow that it runs as an API call. I actually don't know how a lot of this stuff works here. This is for making some kind of image, I guess. Don't yeah, I actually don't know enough about ComfyUI to do anything. But you'll see here that the job queue will spin up once this job begins, right? So now, as we were talking about earlier, by the way, there's a. Can I do a web terminal? I can do a web terminal. Let me show you the web terminal here because this might be relevant. If I go and do, hey, I can go here. Wonderful. So this is now. I have to remember where things are. Because I think, yeah, here you go. So what you'll see here, this is in this particular model here, I have attached a drive, right? So is there a way for me to actually see that drive? I can't see that drive here, and it's behind here. So but you see there's 100 GB network volume here. That's my drive, right? So this is not my local hard drive because it's a cloud drive, but that's where I keep my models, right? So that particular drive is right here, right? This is the one. It has all the ComfyUI Infinite Talk models. It's 100 GB. This is the data center where it is. Yeah, I can't actually open. I don't think I can open it. Can I? There's no way to actually look at this, right? That would be awesome, but I can't. No, I can't. But in any case, I can actually run this right now and attach it to my local machine so I can open it. So that's the point of that, is that it's actually my computer, right? So, or not my computer, but my hard drive. All the data here, all the models and everything is my actual model. So if I go in there now, I can go into output, for example, like this, and look what's going to be here. We're going to look at, I don't know where it actually stores all of these things. InfiniteTalk. No, oh, it was capital. There you go. Is there something here? Yeah, here we go. Here are all the videos that I have created, right? With the MP4s and everything. All of this stuff here is stuff that I have created. This is my drive, and it's now attached to this particular instance. And if I go up a step here now, and I go to here, and I can go into models. What you'll see in here, Laura's Fusion models. What are all these calls? There's some. I don't know what all of these models are even. Van video. I got a. Oh yeah, this capital. This is there's the InfiniteTalk, right? InfiniteTalk. Oh, come on, see the InfiniteTalk. Here we are. Here's the models, right? Files that I downloaded. I went on Google, not on Google, on YouTube, and I said, give me a talking head a ComfyUI setup. I found an article and I followed the instructions, and guess what? Now I have these models somewhere on my own drive. Right? These are models you can download, and they're yours, and you can tune them, you can use them. Nobody can take them away from you. There's no White House that can go and censor and say, "Hey, you can't have this hard drive anymore." Well, I guess technically they could say that, but it doesn't really mean anything, right? By the way, while we're doing this now, you'll see that there's a running job here. It's been running for 2 minutes. And again, only thing I've done nothing. Like hands are here. I've been clicking. You've seen my mouse move all over the place. It'll run these jobs right now. It's up and running. Blah blah blah. This will be, yeah. This will just be going for a couple of minutes, I'm guessing. So now that we have this workflow, by the way, yeah. So I was saying these models are yours. Nobody can take them away from you, right? They're you can. It's the same way that you have a hard drive in your house. You can actually connect this and use it as a hard drive in your house as well. You can even take this drive now and sync it with, because it's using S3, the sort of standard, or the AWS method of doing things. It'll use a compatible interface, so you can actually use the S3 S3 tools in order to map this to be an actual local drive for you. I'm mainly just telling the director to just download these when it's done, right? And you'll see that in a moment as well. Once this video now finishes rendering, it's 5 seconds. So if you multiply that by 25, it'll be 125. It should be 2 or 3 4 minutes, something like that, uh, and hopefully it'll be done fairly quickly. We can't actually see the details of this because, as I mentioned earlier, in Comfy UI, what happens is that it actually goes and here we go. Yeah. So now the video is on 4 minutes, 2 seconds. Here's a video. Let's play it.
With AI, I suddenly have the tool to test those ideas.
Right? So that's my video. Congratulations, we have a video now. I'm just going to tell, I'm not actually going to do anything. It's completed. I'm not touching anything. See here? Like, that's, everything is fine. Downloaded successfully. Everything is fine. It's 6 seconds long. All is good. What I've done so far, you see the entire prompt here, plus me basically just saying that, hey, you know what, there was an issue with there not being any capacity available here. And guess what? Now I have a video, right? And I can keep working with this. And obviously, that's something that's cool and everything. But note that it's that I haven't actually spent a single dime on models, right? I have spent um, I don't know how much that ends up costing, but basically, let's say it's like 10 minutes. I've spent 16 cents, right, on making that particular video. That's everything is fine, and I will update, publish ready. Blah, blah, blah. This is actually, I think it should be, yeah, it's shut down now, right? It's not connecting anymore. We can go in here and we can look at our pods. You'll see that this one is now shut down. It's not running anymore. It's not costing us any more money. All of this is automatic. Again, connection closed. Everything is fine. This video now is local on my machine. I downloaded. It's somewhere in here. Can I open an external program? Yes, I can. There we go.
With AI, I suddenly have the tool to test those ideas.
See? So that's it. That's how I make my videos, right? So there's obviously these are much longer when I have complex scripts and there's like full articles or I'm working on a course or something like that. But this is it. It's everything is running locally, or if I had the 5090, I could have run this locally and it would be as fast as this. And now my light shut off too. By the way, I have to recharge my fancy glowing light. Yeah, maybe it's out of battery. We'll see in a moment. But the yeah, so everything runs on my models. Nobody can stop me, and then we have the similar. Yeah, definitely out of battery. I'll recharge it for my next video. Perfect timing, by the way. We're done with this video. 30 minutes. That's more than enough. If you like this content, by the way, I'm going to work more on showing you how I work with other types of local models. I'm not doing a ridiculous amount with programming at the moment, but I've done that in the past, and I'm using LM Studio, and I'll show you some videos about that as well. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do the things that people often do when they like stuff or want to see more about it. I'll post some more content, and for now, thank you for sticking around, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.
With AI, I suddenly have the tool to test those ideas.